This podcast may contain strong language, references of a sexual nature, and bad advice.
When life gets you down, your car just won't start. Agony art. It's time for agony art. If you've reached a dead end, you're not sure what to do. Agony art. Well, agony art is for you. At times life is grand, you've got the world in your hands. Then somehow you drop that ball. Instead of watching it fall, give agony art a call.
Welcome to Agony Art, the Agony Art podcast in which we try to solve your problems not by using our own brain power, but instead by telling you how those problems were solved in the great art of our age. And when we inevitably fail to solve those problems, at least you're left with a fun reading, listening, and watching list to enjoy in your spare time. My name is Aaron. I'm an author, an occasional reader of books. And I have Carl, our film fan, and Liam, our music maestro, here with me in our swanky studio in my upstairs. Say hello, lads.
Who are you?
What the fuck is
This
going
is
on?
my John Cooper Clarke impression.
I thought it was. It's very good.
Yeah?
Although I think he might say book instead of book.
Book. Possibly.
Is he the poet guy?
Yes.
From, he's in a film. What film is he in? Like Football Factory or something like that.
Was he?
Possibly.
Hmm.
He's a pop culture icon. If you haven't listened to John Cooper Clarke's poetry, you should listen today. He has fallen in love with his wife.
It's a Plan B film, actually. I can't remember what it's called.
I know he was in Control. This is my real voice, listeners.
Let's just start with the obvious. What the fuck are you doing?
Well, the reason I was doing that is that I've written a John Cooper Clarke style poem
Ah, brilliant.
for Agony Art.
Oh. Ill Manners was the Plan B film he features in.
Plan B is
Do you
in
remember Plan
the
B?
musician.
Yeah, do you remember him?
Oh, he's a very angry lad, wasn't
Yeah.
But then he started singing.
he? Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, when he was singing, he seemed really nice.
Remember?
And
Yeah.
then he started rapping and it was like, whoa.
Remember that song? I love you so.
Yeah.
And
And he's like, now I'm in the courts, in the witness
I'm in the-
box.
Yeah, exactly. Go on, Liv. Aaron, let's hear it.
I quite like writing little silly poems, and I like John Cooper Clarke's poetry, so I thought, why not give it a go? Try and write a poem like John Cooper Clarke would. Because he has a style, a distinct style in his poetry, so I thought I'd give it a go. And I'm going to read it using my John Cooper Clarke impression. So that
Is that
people,
not just plagiarism? Like,
so that people think that he really wrote it for us. No, he's a very funny guy and quite good humoured. So I imagine
he wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I imagine if he listened to this, he'd either think, what a bunch of wankers.
Let's send it to him. He might endorse us.
Yeah, maybe.
He might mark it out of 10 like he does in 8 out of 10 cats.
Yeah, it's true, yeah. All right, here goes. It hasn't got a name.
Untitled. I sound like Gary Barlow, right?
My name's Gary Barlow, and this poem is untitled.
Have you ever considered doing a Gary Barlow tribute act?
But only speaking, not
Because
singing.
you could make yourself look like him, I think.
I can already
You're
see
halfway
why.
there already.
People used to say that I look like him when he started doing the X Factor. All right, here's the poem. If you've got a burden and you'd like to have a word and you've decided that you're certain, why not write to Agony Art? 'Cause they can lift your spirits with their film quotes and song lyrics. Man, you really have to hear it, so download some Agony Art. Carl is ranting and he's raving, Liam's panting and explaining that if you can't endure the pain, then you should go to Agony Art. Put this on hold, there's been a mistake. I've just been told problems must be fake, 'cause if you're folding under real heartbreak, they won't know where to start. They're really not that smart. They'll tear your life apart. So please, don't go to Agony Art.
Very good. Bravo,
Like
sir.
my John Cooper Clarke style poem.
I think
like
it was really, really good. What I like about John Cooper Clarke is the like, I don't know, there's probably a name for it, but they're like half rhymes, aren't they? Where they're not really rhymes, they're like two words put together that rhyme with something else, but it's really clever. Love it.
I think that's called a romantic left, Liam.
Romantic clip. Is it?
Carl's such an expert in these things.
You picked an odd episode to introduce that though, because this is a special, isn't it?
It is a special. This is our first late night Agony Art After Dark Sex Life Specials. We're here to solve your sexual problems today. And if you're thinking, wait a minute, you can't solve normal problems, let alone sex problems, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And if you knew us, you'd even laugh even more, actually. Yeah.
If you can think of 3 guys who would solve sexual problems better than us,
You probably just thought of 3 random guys.
but still we're going to try. So, before we begin, I want to make it 100% clear that we are not here to solve your life's or your sex life's hardest problems.
You should do this ASMR.
All right, I want to make it 100% clear that we're not here to solve your life's hardest problems.
I've just realised I'm one of those people that doesn't like ASMR.
You don't like it so much that you're erect. All of our problems are certified 100% trivial and or fictional pickles, and our advice should almost never be followed. We can't even do ASMR voices.
Can't we?
All of your impressions involve straining for a shit, Carl. We're only here to have fun. So if you're having a really hard time, I would recommend hitting up our website for guidance on who to turn to. That's agonyartpodcast.com. So, with that out of the way, let's move on to our first sexual problem of the day.
Let's talk about sex, baby.
My new partner is the most selfish lover I've ever had. In general, he's sweet and kind and attentive, and personality-wise, we're as compatible as any couple I've ever met. But in the bedroom, all he does is take, and doesn't even consider giving me the loving I deserve in return for all my hard work. I've tried asking him to be a bit more sexually generous, but I'm not sure whether he doesn't understand or just doesn't care. What can I do to get the sugar I crave?
No, we don't need to make up a name for this one.
Because it's you.
I know.
Liam.
No, I know who this is.
Oh.
We've got our first celebrity pickle here. Because Lily, you've already solved this problem in your own way, and you released a bitter song about it. Do you remember Lily Allen's 2009 single, Not Fair?
It's not fair, but it's okay. I'm gonna make it anyway.
I don't think that one was Lily Allen,
Oh.
or called Not Fair.
No.
Well, let me enlighten you then, because I think after you hear this, you'll agree with me. This is
fuck you. Fuck
definitely-
you very, very... No, that's fuck you.
yeah.
Fuck you right back.
Right, so as far as the verse goes, it sounds like Lily's found the perfect man. You know, he really loves her, he makes her feel safe, he's very respectful, and he's very mature. She says he's not like all the other boys.
Do you know who Lily Allen is married to?
No.
Hopper from Stranger Things.
Really?
Yep.
Really?
DK Harbour.
Did not know that.
Mental.
That's mad.
Can you remind us how this song goes?
It goes, it's not fair and it's really not okay.
Oh,
it's really not okay. Right.
Oh, is this about a sexually selfish lover?
We get into the chorus, and she sings, there's just one thing that's getting in the way. When we go up to bed, you're just no good. It's such a shame. She says, you're supposed to care, but you never make me scream. She's talking about...
Is that selfishness or inadequacy, though?
Well, she basically says that there's one line where she goes, I look into your eyes, I want to get to know you, but then you make this noise and it's apparent it's all over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and she...
So we're calling her Lily, then, the writer.
Oh, definitely. She even says at one
But
point...
just for legal reasons, we probably should point out this isn't actually Lily Allen writing in.
Yeah, it is. She even says at one point, all you do is take. She's given herself away. This is the exact same phrasing as the problem.
He's really bought into this, his own conspiracy theory.
Fun fact about this song. First performed on Ant and Dec's Saturday Night Takeaway, which I thought was quite funny because it's like one of the most family-friendly family shows there is on television. And
To be fair, you wouldn't know if you weren't listening to the lyrics. Like, it's like how Ariana Grande gets a lot of radio airtime and all of her songs are about fucking.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you would
Little
think
girls, little primary school girls run around singing Ariana Grande songs, and if you listen to the lyrics,
I had
it's
this
like,
issue
fuck
about
me.
Two Become One, Spice Girls, which is about fucking...
Yeah.
Like,
Be a little bit wiser,
yeah.
baby.
Get it on. I'll put it on, yeah. Because tonight is tonight where two become
that. Yeah,
one.
but the thing is, there's metaphor.
Carl just did a
there's
sex
he did.
move.
That was actually probably exactly what they meant, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was
yeah.
beautifully demonstrated with your fingers.
That's
there,
the dance move.
I'm turned on.
But yeah, like 10-year-olds would be singing that. It's a bit
but-
weird, isn't it?
Mad.
But there's
Weird.
metaphor, and that's how they get away with it. Lily Allen was on Saturday Night Takeaway. One of the lines, I'm feeling pretty damn hard done by. I spent ages giving head.
Yeah,
You
that's
can't
pretty.
take that
no.
two ways, can you?
Joe, Ant and Dec.
Maybe you
You
can.
can take it as many ways as you want, Liam.
I don't think, yeah. National TV Awards were a couple of days ago. Am I doxing us? I'm saying that. Probably not, no.
I still don't think you know what doxing means.
These guys live on Earth.
Anyway, and it went to an advert break. Went after break. We'll find out if Ant and Dec win the Best Presenter Award for the 20th year running. And they did. Shock horror. And I was like, crazy, isn't it? It's fixed. It's got to be a fix, isn't it?
Well, yeah, the point I'm making is you're not fooling anyone, Lily. We know it's you. And the only way I can think that this might be slightly different is if you've somehow written to us from 2009 before you recorded the song. And if that's true, then my advice is don't release the song. It's horrible.
You know.
What is your advice to the actual person, though? Say it
He
wasn't
doesn't
Lily
want
Allen.
because he doesn't agree. He doesn't like Lily Allen, so he doesn't want to give her advice.
It's Lily Allen.
All right. Okay. Do you want to go, Carl?
Yeah, okay, I'll go.
Let's just in case it's not Lily Allen.
Yeah,
shall
let's,
we?
I'm gonna refer to Dane. I think Dane wrote in. So my mind immediately went to film's most selfish lover, without question, James Bond.
James Bond.
Yeah, who one of the things most controversial things about him is that he shakes his martini when like bar people. What do you call them? Not baristas. cocktail
yeah.
chemistry connoisseurs or whatever. They think that's fucking crazy. So
Was there a hint of sarcasm when you said one of the most controversial things about him was that he doesn't have his martini the way most people do?
no,
Because I've never heard that controversy.
they say you would never shake a martini. Never.
And that is one of the most controversial things about James Bond, is it?
People are always going on about it. Aren't they?
Again, shaken again. So yeah, we all
Except
know.
in, isn't it Casino Royale where they say,
They make a
shaken or
point.
stirred, and he said,
I don't give a fuck. I said that.
do I look like I give a damn?
That's it. Yeah, brilliant. Which is funny because Casino Royale broke all of the James Bond tropes, and then Skyfall brought them all back in again, which I quite liked.
I like the way you do things.
So James Bond is always a classically suave, handsome hero. He saves the world, quips hilarious one-liners, on and off. Like it's always he's a one-liner. Like Pierce Brosnan was Mr. One-liner, wasn't he? Daniel Craig does a bit, but they're a bit more serious. But he's still suave, handsome.
Best James Bond.
Daniel Craig, he's very good. Liam, who's your favourite?
You're putting me on the spot here.
Not really. Just fucking make a decision.
I don't know. I did like Sean Connery. I know. Most of those films, if not all of them, are really dated now. But
I've always liked Roger Moore.
yeah, Roger Moore's a bit too comic for me though. Like he's all the one-liners and everything. It's like leave it out, mate.
And also like Timothy Dalton in License to Kill. License to Kill was my favourite for a long time. Can't remember anything about any of them now.
What about George Lazenby? He always gets a lot of stick, doesn't he? But I didn't think it was that bad, to be honest.
Okay.
It's a great film, though. It's a great film.
The thing is,
Yeah.
how can you get over the fact that he has his martini shaken and not stirred?
I know, yeah, it's just fucking crazy. But he is a selfish lover and he treats women like shit basically the whole time. And, even when we were younger, I remember when we were in secondary school, probably year 7 or 8, they had every Wednesday they played a James Bond film from the start to finish. I don't know if you remember that.
No, I don't remember that.
But a lot of people the next day would say, did you watch a James Bond film last night?
Oh, on the telly. I
On
thought you meant
TV.
in school.
That'd be
What
so
lesson
good.
was this?
I would love that, yeah.
History, obviously.
On ITV, and it was great. Like, and everyone at school, apart from Aaron, watched it. Basically, yeah. And you didn't like. Obviously, we were children, but we didn't really think, oh, he's a bit of an arsehole. But they are very dated. Some of the early ones, like racism, sexism, everything's in them. Basically, every ism's in them. But here's a couple of snippets. So Goldfinger, 1964. James Bond uses a dancer, Bonita, as a human shield, and then throws her into an assassin, and she gets knocked unconscious. Great, well done, James.
Well done, James.
He gets away. Thunderball, 1965, the next film. Bond sleeps with Spectre agent Fiona Volpe, finds out she's a baddie, ends up on a dance floor with her in like a kind of a situation. He's chasing her, they end up on a dance floor, and they start dancing. He spins her, and then she catches a bullet in the face and dies.
And,
Yeah,
and
pretty consistent human shield thing going on here, isn't
the
there?
implication is he did it intentionally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which is that's the George Lazenby one,
Yeah.
is it? Yeah. He kind of starts the film, he's committed to marrying a woman. Finally, James Bond's settling down. But when he infiltrates Blofeld's secret lair, the whole plot is that Blofeld's brainwashing beautiful women to turn them into weapons. And so while all these women are brainwashed and victims of a terrible crime, James Bond flirts with them all and ends up
He does, doesn't he?
having
It's the
sex
scene-
with a few
scene
of
at the
them.
dinner table, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's terrible. Why did I think that was a good film?
And to be fair, 25 Bond films later, he's not really changed. In Quantum of Solace, there's a bit less of that, but he drags Gemma Arterton's character, Strawberry Fields, into his scheme. She's trying to stop Bond because he goes off the grid in this one, and she's trying to stop him. But then he's like, come on, help me. And she ends up dead and covered in engine oil. So, bit of a prick.
Yeah. And it's, as you say, can't believe we watched this when I was younger. It is damaging, this stuff. As an adult, you can look at it and go, that's not a very nice way to treat people. And you can have a balanced view on it. Most people can. Still, some people will be influenced by it. But as a child, it's more damaging, isn't it? I've recently played through all the Metal Gear Solid games again, and the misogyny in those is just ridiculous. And I think I played through all these when I was a kid. Like, it must have subconsciously, like, done a lot of damage to children's view of women.
Well, all of the things I
Not
just
that
mentioned.
you're supposed to be playing those games. A lot of them are rated 18 or whatever.
True.
But
yeah.
we shouldn't have been watching a lot of these James Bond films. But we watched them every Wednesday, as
all
you
of those
say.
situations are built for a funny moment, essentially, or a James kind of moment, normalising his behaviour. Which is, you're right. Like, it must have, we didn't think anything of it as a kid, so I must have thought, oh, that's funny or something like that. So,
and these things all just whittle away at our views of, in this case, women, but so many of these things in films and stuff. I mean, we don't get into many deep things on this podcast because we're not equipped to deal with it
no, at all.
sensibly. But I think what we're saying is sensible here.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I've basically saying he's a selfish. It's beyond selfish lover. He's basically an abhorrent misogynist. Yeah, but to bring the lightheartedness back,
Pop quiz, asshole.
let's play a little game. Name the James Bond film. Well, not name the James Bond film, but name James Bond films until you can't no more.
All right.
So, Liam, you go first.
All right. Well, let's start at the beginning. Dr. No.
The Man with the Golden Gun.
Goldfinger.
Thunderball.
Goldeneye.
Tomorrow Never Dies.
Quantum of Solace.
Die Another Day.
License to Kill.
The Living Daylights.
Casino Royale.
A View to a Kill.
Have we done...
He's got to be timed out by now. Come on.
You're out, Liam. Let's go sudden death, me versus Aaron.
Oh, come on, give me a chance. I've got another one.
Go on.
Octopussy.
Oh, he's going that era.
Skyfall.
Moonraker. He's out now.
Definitely. Spectre.
What's the new one called? And Another Time to Die. No. it's
No.
not. Well done, Aaron. You're the James Bond fanatic.
I'm not actually. I'm not that much of a James Bond fan. I love the new ones, and we recently watched all the Pierce Brosnan ones,
Yeah.
and they are okay.
They are just comedy, though, aren't they? That's all they're...
Yeah. Before, basically, any time before Daniel Craig, it was cheese, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Did we say Live and Let Die?
I don't think so. Live and let.
That's why I was pausing for so long, so I was trying to remember the name of it. I could just think of the theme.
What, which is Live and let.
I was like, what's this film called?
But do you remember the old thing was like, oh, men want to be him and women want to be with him? Like that kind of thing. It's like, no, actually, no one does.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, what, was there any advice there?
What was
or-
the point?
Oh,
No,
God.
the point was that he's a selfish lover, but was there advice to get over that? Or
Yeah, see him for what he is.
and leave him.
Either say, mention it to him if he doesn't care. Like, James Bond must be aware of the many examples that he's been treating women like shit, but he's not changed. So if you can't change him, fuck him off.
I think you pulled
It is
that out
true.
of the bag right at the last minute.
Yeah. Pulled your bag out.
I pull my ball hammock.
I think you're right, Carl. I'm going to agree with you because it is hard if you really like someone. It is hard if you really like someone to, let them go over, something that seems pretty small and hard. One thing that you don't like about them, but it's a big part of your relationship, sex, especially if you're saying, you feel like you don't get the loving you deserve. If it's that important to you, maybe you should. You've already tried talking to him, you say, in your problem. If he hasn't listened to you, maybe it is time to just call it a day. In Normal People by Sally Rooney, which is a book I've read. This is from memory again. I've done this before. I've got a terrible memory, so I'm probably slaughtering these, but it's a good job no one listens to the podcast. So Connell and Marianne are like on-off lovers throughout the book, and it was adapted into a series which was shown on the BBC, I think. So did either of you watch that? Normal People?
Normal People, no.
Connell and Marianne are on-off lovers, and Connell's a bit of a twat. While they're at school, it follows them through school and uni, I think. As I say, from memory. Who knows? Maybe it's totally different.
That's in between us.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. And he's got his friend called Jay. No, he's a bit of a twat, and while they're at school, he keeps their relationship a secret because he's popular at school and she isn't, so he doesn't want to be dragged down by her social reputation. And if I remember correctly, he is one of those moody pricks that we've all met who, think that they can keep a girl under their spell by kind of keeping their self-esteem down and withholding affection and stuff. We've all met people like that, haven't we? Like, people who treat people badly.
Treat them mean to keep them keen.
Yeah.
Fallacy.
Exactly. And it was a hugely popular book, which I thought was massively overrated, to be honest. I think the writing is just trying way too hard to be moody and have every moment feel heavy and deep. And it's trying to be stylish instead of actually meaningful, which is something that my writing suffers from as well. So that's why I feel qualified to give that criticism. But as I say, it's hugely popular. So although I've criticised it, Sally Rooney, if she ever listens to this, will be sitting there thinking, yeah, shut up, you twat.
And we'll be thinking, oh my God, Sally Rooney's listened to our podcast.
Sitting on a golden throne.
Yeah, if John Cooper Clarke promotes this podcast and Sally Rooney ends up listening to it.
Are they close friends?
I don't know. Anyway, the upshot is that as hard as it would have been for these two absolute flannels in this book to just leave each other and live happily ever after without going back to each other over and over again, it would have been best for them. And, as hard as that decision will be to come to for you, it might be the right one, Lily/Dane. You've already tried.
Lily Dane.
You've already tried the number one most sensible course of action, which is just talking about it, saying, look, I think you're a selfish lover. Can you do something about that? And if he hasn't changed his ways, as Carl says, if you can't change him, then just end it, I think. Go out there and find someone else who will
lick you up and down
until you say stop. And who knows? If you really, really like him, if you leave him now, maybe he'll be like Connell is in Normal People and come back to you later begging for another chance. And maybe he will have changed to keep you this time.
Good song example. Chicago. If you leave me now, take away the biggest part.
Is that by Chicago?
Yeah, I think
Didn't
so.
know that.
I'm going to cut the jingle in there.
A ranger came arranging to Old Town one fine day. The townsfolk came to meet him. They heard what he had to say. He said, I hear this town's got problems, some outlaws on the run, and I've come to solve these problems with my problem gun. Word soon got to these outlaws about a ranger new in town, and they soon came out of hiding to put this ranger down. They laughed when they first saw him beneath the high noon sun, but he soon stopped them from laughing with his problem gun. Problem gun, problem gun. Yeah, the ranger solved their problems with his problem gun.
Okay, you ready for problem 2, lads?
Certainly am.
Yeah, boy.
I want to try out this new sexual thing I heard about. But my husband isn't as sexually open-minded as I am, and I'm worried that he'll think I'm weird for even suggesting it. As a result, I've got no idea how to bring it up. You guys sound like you've been around the block a few times. How would you do it?
Do we?
I don't know how she's...
Do you think that when
he or
we're
she's
solving
having
problems, we come across as sexually experienced people?
No. We're doing a podcast.
That should tell you we have no sexual experience.
So who's writing in?
Yeah, who's
deluded?
wants to do something a bit out there but is a bit embarrassed about it? Can we think of any of those examples? I'll tell you who does things that are out there. Evil Knievel.
He does, yeah. he tests the boundaries of everything.
So,
doesn't he? Yeah.
Evil.
Or Mr. Knievel.
Mr.
Yeah.
Knievel to you.
Meat, pie, sausage roll. Stick 'em all up my bum hole.
What the fuck?
That's the sexual thing she's suggesting.
Well, it's real. I'll be open to that, yeah. As long as there's spare sausage rolls up on the side to like snack
From my
on.
mouth hole.
This is one thing I hate when people start involving food. Perfectly good food that they could eat.
Oh, what if they eat it as part of it, though?
Pizza
It doesn't
during,
have to be
or-
shoved up your arsehole, Liam.
No.
Liam, we've told you this for so many years. Not everything has to be shoved up your arsehole.
Imagine just laying there with a pizza on your chest, just taking a slice as and when.
Why would I want it on my
yeah.
chest? if it's on my chest and
It's dough side down. You're not making a mess.
if it's comfortable,
Liam was thinking cheese side down.
if it's comfortable, then it's not going to be hot enough to enjoy.
Yeah.
And if it is hot enough to enjoy, it's going to be really uncomfortable.
All right, who wants to help Mr. Knievel first?
Yeah, I can. I need a volunteer to help with Agony Art Theatre Group's rendition of Demolition Man.
All right, yeah, I'll join in.
To Demolition Man 1993, directed by Marco Brambilla. So really, we'll go through this little segment and then I'll let you know what the point is.
All right.
So Aaron, you're playing Sandra Bullock, who is Huxley. For a little bit of context, Sylvester Stallone plays John Spartan, who was arrested and tried for fucking up, basically, and killing loads of innocent people. He's a policeman / army kind of guy.
I can
Policeman,
already
think.
see why this is solving a sexual problem.
Can you just detail how many people did he kill and how?
I think he blew up a building. So I haven't watched the film in preparation, but I've seen it lots of times, but a long time ago. I think he blew up a building trying to chase Wesley Snipes, who is the
Blade.
Yeah, Blade. His name in it is good as well, Simon Phoenix. So he's trying to stop him. He ends up getting a building blown up, killing innocent people, a few hundred maybe, not thousands, I don't think. And his punishment is to be put into cryo sleep for a couple of 100 years, I think. from
So it's
memory.
based on a true story.
It is indeed, yeah.
It's that classic punishment.
But then also Simon Phoenix, Wesley Snipes, is put into cryo sleep for his crimes. And then when he comes out of it, crime's kind of been eradicated. When someone gets killed, they go murder, death, kill, and it's very rare. Like they've got anti-graffiti stuff, and it's crazy. Like there's no crime basically. So the policemen are all very like
The
"Ooh."
two big crime groups, graffiti and murder.
yeah,
So
plaguing society.
So their logic is your crimes were so bad that we're going to let future generations deal with you.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
It's not very forward
Yeah,
thinking,
and
is
you
it?
don't really. There's no real punishment because you're asleep and then you wake up. Like there's actually no punishment whatsoever.
Why put it off till tomorrow what you can do today?
So because there's no crime, the police force are very watered down and they're basically useless. When Simon Phoenix escapes, the only thing they can do is get John Spartan out of cryo. So he's from the 20th century. They're now in the 21st century. Interestingly enough, they joked. So this is 1993. They joked that Arnold Schwarzenegger was the president at one point. And and he did kind of do something political, but
That is an interesting joke.
and it's good because Sylvester Stallone goes President Schwarzenegger in it, like it's like I can't believe it. Anyway,
So wait, their universe has Arnold Schwarzenegger, but it doesn't have Sylvester Stallone.
no, it doesn't. You're right. Yeah. So I haven't described the plot very well, which you guys kind of like. That I don't really go into it too much, but yes, they're in the future. John Spartan and Sylvester Stallone's from the 20th century, from 1993, effectively, right?
This is the one with the shells, isn't it?
Shells?
When he goes to the toilet and they don't have any toilet paper.
See, yeah. So this is the point. He's confronted with loads of weird shit that he doesn't understand. And Sandra Bullock, who plays Huxley, should like kind of know that he won't know what any of this shit is. And this is a classic scene depicting that. So, Aaron, you're in bold.
Okay. There's, of course, a well-known and documented connection between sex and violence. Not so much a causal effect, but a general state of neurological arousal. And these ellipses, pauses, like am I supposed to
She's being a bit nervous.
I thought that was your Sandra Bullock impression.
Yeah, it's not a very good Sandra Bullock impression. I can do it as John Cooper Clarke if you want. And after having observed your behavior this evening and my results and condition, I was wondering if you'd like to have sex.
With you?
Mm-hmm.
Here, now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Great. I'll be right back.
And at this point, she's gone to get changed, or what he thinks get changed, and then she starts playing music, and Sylvester Stallone goes, Love Boat?
There you go. Now, just relax. We'll begin in a few seconds.
They've just put on headsets, by the way. That's context.
Oh.
Begin what?
At what point does Liam have to shout?
You're karate shit.
Your sex is shit.
Your sex is whack.
Begin what?
Having sex, of course.
Right, and in this bit, they got the headsets on, and John Spartan's seeing loads of crazy shit, virtual reality kind of thing, and Sandra Bullock's really enjoying herself, and he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And he pulls his and he pulls his headset off.
What's wrong? You broke contact.
Contact? I didn't even touch you yet.
But I thought you wanted to make love.
Is that what you call this?
Versex has been proved to produce higher orders of alpha waves during digitized transference of sexual energies.
All right, Huxley, what do you say we do the old-fashioned way?
Ugh, disgusting. You mean fluid transfer?
No, I mean boning, the wild mamba, the hunker chunker.
The hunker chunker.
I told my wife the other day when I was researching this, that's what I'm going to call it from now on. She said...
You're divorced now, aren't you?
So, where am I going with this? So the sex in this time for John Spartan is like a completely new experience, which he's not comfortable with or ready for, and not really been explained to him. So he's automatically like, no, I don't like this. So basically preempt that by saying, I want to try this new thing. This is what it's like. This is why I want to do it. And let's just try it. So maybe if she explained, what's going to go on, he would have been a bit more forthcoming.
I don't want to tear the plot apart too much, but they have children, don't they, in this universe?
You don't see any, I don't think.
So
but they must do because they're not extinct, so yeah.
So do they still have sex when they have children?
It's probably all like...
Maybe they grow them in labs.
Yeah.
Laboratories, not Labradors.
I thought you meant
Labradors become surrogate mothers, yeah. So if you want to do the wild mambo or the hunker chunker, just let him know. Let him or her know that this is why you want to do it, and prepare them.
What was the advice? Just ask?
Just go for it.
Yeah.
But in the future, after your cryo sleep.
It's the opposite. Don't just go into it. Just
prepare them.
Prepare them for it, yeah.
So I think the advice from the music industry is fairly similar, to be honest. It's, I phrased it as be bold and be vocal. If you don't ask, you don't get. Yeah. So there's a few examples of this. In Interpol's No I in Threesome, which is from their 2007 album, Our Love to Admire, Paul Banks sings, Babe, it's time we give something new a try. Oh, alone we may fight, so just let us be free tonight. And To be honest, there's actually varying interpretations of this line depending on who you ask. Everyone generally agrees that the song's about a relationship going through hard times. Some people think it's a literal threesome. Others think it means having a child.
Have you been on Genius again?
I certainly have. and others think that it's a metaphor for finding someone new. So you add in a person to the relationship, and eventually I guess you'll ditch, so go from 3 to 2 again. But I don't know, didn't quite get that one. So, it seems we can't really be sure about that example, but much more direct is Britney Spears in her song Free, which was recorded for her second greatest hits album in 2009. I think this is pretty undeniably a suggestion of an actual threesome.
Threesome. Hey, guys, do you want a threesome?
Back to Sean Connery. How about a threesome after I've saved a world?
Hey, wise guy, you want a threesome?
So Britney sings in Free, 1, 2, 3, not only you and me, got 180 degrees and I'm caught in between. Later, 3 is a charm, 2 is not the same. I don't see the harm, so are you game? And then towards the end of the song, she takes it even further. She says, if you don't like the company, let's just do it, you and me. You and me, or 3, or 4, on the floor. So, I mean, she's getting into all
Or 5, in a hive.
Or 6, pick up sticks.
So, I mean, that's the suggestion there, really. Just be forthright and direct and, maybe go further than your initial intent and see what happens. Like they say no.
Go all out. If you don't ask, you don't get, as Liam said. So if you want to do this thing and, you are in a loving, consensual relationship, you're going to have to just steel yourself and ask at some point, because otherwise you're never going to do it. However, I'd exercise a bit of caution in how far you take it, because my example is 4 by Andy Jones, and it's another book that I've read.
Yeah.
It follows the story of 2 couples who meet up for dinner after not seeing each other for a while. And one of the couples is like a fairly new couple. They haven't been together very long. The men in these couples are old friends, but one of them has a new girlfriend, and this is the first time she's meeting the other couple. And she's young, and she's pretty, and she's flirty, and they all get quite sloshed. They have a few drinks, and she suggests that they try something sexual. So maybe you could try that. Just go out for a nice meal with your husband, have some fun, get in high spirits. Don't get drunk, because you don't make sensible decisions when you're drunk. So suggest it when you're both in a very good mood, just in high spirits, and you're feeling a bit less inhibited and embarrassed. And if he really doesn't want to try it, at least you won't feel too bad about suggesting it. You won't feel too embarrassed because, you can blame it on the boogie. Oh, I was just having so much fun. Or you could do what we said in a previous episode and say, I was only joking. Can't believe you thought I was being serious.
Yeah, put sausage rolls in there.
You eat sausage rolls. However, as I say, mine also comes with a word of caution, because that in this book, what they try is a couple swap. Basically, they each have sex with each other's partners, and it goes very wrong. I won't go into detail because there's no need to spoil it to make my point, but it goes about as well as you could expect sleeping with your best friend's wife could go.
It sounds like such a sensible idea.
And it's also not a very good book. Now, I keep slagging books off in this episode, but I found that once I read them, I find that they're shit. No, some people love it.
Do you finish a book you don't like?
Yeah, I can't DNF. Did not finish.
I know.
So, Mr. Knievel, I hope that helped. Does anyone have any wrap-up points for Mr. Knievel?
I've got one. Hunker chunker, according to Urban Dictionary, is a noun, a slang term for sexual intercourse without withdrawal at the point of ejaculation, made popular by the film Demolition Man.
Oh.
Lay me down next to this roaring fire and do the hunker chunker to me all evening, is the example.
And maybe that's how they could word it when they're suggesting this thing to their husband.
Yeah. Well, that sounds nice, by the fire.
Problems. We all got 'em. Problems. We all got 'em. Problems. We all got 'em. So let's try and solve some problems.
Let's move on to problem 3. I had an embarrassing sexual experience recently. the details of which I don't want to go into, but it's safe to say that my girlfriend and I were both left disappointed. She said all the right things, that it was fine, she loves me anyway, I shouldn't be ashamed, etc. But even though she's been nice about it, I still feel like something has changed. When she looks at me with those come-to-bed eyes now, I feel like there's something else in that look. Like she's thinking about that night and wishes she'd made better choices before she met me. Am I imagining things because I'm embarrassed, or do I need to address this?
It's quite a leap, isn't it? Like, to go from one incident to, I bet she wishes she'd never met me.
It's an ingredient of insecurity, isn't it?
Oh, it must mean that he thinks that sex ranks like the number one reason for them being together.
Sex is the number one reason I'm your friend, Carl.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Are you two friends with benefits?
Yeah. I'm not getting many benefits at the moment.
You don't get any benefits, are you?
So who's insecure or who's a friend with benefits? Justin. All right.
Justin?
So Justin, I'm going to take the lead on this one. And I'm going to tell you that you don't need to worry. As Carl says, I think you're going a bit too far. You've let your mind run away from you. And you've become too worried over a small thing, relatively small. And to prove it, I'm going to read you some quotes from books which have been nominated in the Bad Sex in Fiction Awards, which has been running since 1993.
What's the award for? Bad sex in fiction.
Yeah.
It's like a bad sex scene.
Yeah.
In a book.
Yeah. Exactly that, Carl. A bit like the raspberries for film. They're not, obviously, it's not an award you want.
Or the Carbuncle Award for architecture.
Yeah. Why not? Now, as I say, it's not an award you want, but nominees over the years have included Stephen King, Tony Blair, and friend of the show, Morrissey.
What?
Hey.
Wait,
So-
does Tony Blair have written a sex scene in a book?
Yeah, it was a non-fiction political book as well.
Biography of his life.
No, not really.
So me and Sherry done the hunker chunker. She waited a Coitus Interruptus.
No, I think Tony Blair has written fiction, so
Okay.
possibly
Why
one
does
of those
everyone
books.
famous write fiction? Just easy
Tony
money.
Blair's done
Yeah.
a lot. He was in a band as well at one point, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah, he wrote Things Can Only Get Better.
that's Brian Cox.
Oh, yeah.
So my point is, all of those people are, they're still well famous and nobody thinks any less of them. So if they can have sex this bad and still be going strong, you can move on from it
Wait,
too.
they wrote about sex bad sex, not had bad sex.
Yeah, but it's indicative of their sex lives, surely, Carl.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Is it, or is it just like they imagine these things might be things that happen, but they actually have no idea?
Yeah, maybe they've never had sex at all. And Morrissey, as I say, he was one of the nominees, and he was characteristically humble and good-humoured about his...
Oh, Morrissey's just come in. What have you got to...
I'm not going to do the
Are
impression.
you going to comment, Morrissey?
I'm not going to do the impression, but I'm going to read out his quote. He said, "I have many enemies, and their biggest motivation, as you know, is to try to use all your achievements against you." So, he's always good-humoured. He takes these things on the chin, doesn't he? Now, I'm going to read you some of these passages that have been nominated in previous years.
I want to hear Tony's.
This one, sorry?
I want to hear Tony Blair's.
I haven't got that one,
Oh,
sorry.
for fuck's sake.
This one is from The Office of Gardens and Ponds by Didier Decoyne. Katsuro moaned as a bulge formed beneath the material of his kimono. A bulge that Miyuki seized, kneaded, massaged, squashed, and crushed. With the fondling, Katsuro's penis and testicles became one single mound that rolled around beneath the grip of her hand. Miyuki felt as though she was manipulating a small monkey that was curling up its paws. Turned on yet, lads?
We've all been there, though, haven't we?
My small monkey.
This one is from The Destroyers by Christopher Bollen. She covers her breasts with her swimsuit. The rest of her remains so delectably exposed. The skin along her arms and shoulders are different shades of tan, like water stains in a bathtub.
Whoa.
Her
Ooh,
face,
tell me more.
Her face and vagina are competing for my attention. So I glance.
He's going.
Carl nods his head up and down. So I glance down at the billiard rack of my penis and testicles.
How many balls has he got?
15 in a triangle.
We've missed an opportunity here to cross over with My Dad Wrote a Porno, haven't we?
Yeah. So there you go. We've got John Cooper Clarke plugging us. Now, My Dad Wrote a Porno, if you want to plug us. And this is by Winkler by Giles Corran. And he came hard in her mouth, and his dick jumped around and rattled on her teeth, and he blacked out. And she took his dick out of her mouth and lifted herself from his face and whipped the pillow away, and he gasped and glugged at the air. And he came again so hard that his dick wrenched out of her hand, and a shot of it hit him straight in the eye and stung like he'd never had it in there. And he yelled with the pain, but the yell could have been anything. And as she grabbed at his dick, which was leaping around like a shower dropped in an empty bath, she scratched his back deeply with the nails of both hands, and he shot 3 more times in thick stripes on her chest.
The fuck?
Like Zorro.
Great ending.
It's just the needless imagery I love, like the shower in the empty bath.
It was me all along, Zorro.
Oh.
So, have I made my point?
I think we have.
If they can get away with that and people are still respecting them,
So
then...
as a writer, you write from experience. When is the experience a dick jumping around?
I know, and rattling on the teeth.
Yeah.
Is it a metal dick? I think, as Liam said, it's not previous experience. These people have imagined this. Maybe they've had fantasies and they write it down thinking, yeah, this is a sexy thing.
Yeah, dick
and
jumping.
other people read it and go, that's not sexy.
That's just insane.
His dick jumped around like a fish out of water, gasping for air.
And just like that fish, it was slippery.
And then she filleted it.
She gutted it.
I think this is probably why they say you should write about what you know, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that actually, if I may be so bold, that actually does segue a little bit into what I was going to talk about here.
Yeah, I want to see this.
I've got an example where someone has very much written about what they know. They've written too much about what they know. So, for what it's worth, Justin, you did say, am I imagining this because I'm embarrassed? I think you probably are to some extent. I think these things are usually a bit bigger in your head than other people perceive them, aren't they?
That's what she said.
Indeed. During my research for this episode, I made quite an unexpected discovery. Did either of you know that Spotify regularly publish a list of the best songs to have sex to?
No.
No, I didn't.
So this is according to a
Let's
business...
talk about sex, baby.
They've done it...
The song Carl puts on whenever he wants to have Hunka Chunka with Mrs. Carl.
So according to a Business Insider article from 2016, Spotify's data scientists root through all of the user-created playlists with titles alluding to sex and sort them by most streamed, right? And then they get like the top 10 songs to have sex to out of this. In October 2017, Lindsay Landquist at self.com decided that she wasn't just content with listening to these songs, and she published an article entitled, get ready for this, Carl,
I'm strapped in. Strapped on.
I masturbated to Spotify's hottest sex songs. Here's what actually worked.
Fucking hell. Jesus Christ. You said you wrote that?
Liam wrote one, and then he Googled it, and he was like, shit, it's already been done.
It's already been done.
I did all that masturbating for nothing.
So, spoilers here. According to Lindsay, Sex With Me by Rihanna was a clear winner.
How does that go?
I don't know.
No.
I dare not sing it just in case.
Have sex
you know.
with me under my umbrella. Ella, Ella.
Here's a snippet from the article, though, just to give you a bit of a bit of an insight into what it's like. This is from her review of Jeremy's birthday sex. Is it Jeremy or Jeremiah? I'm not quite sure. I think it's Jeremy.
Don't know. She
says, as Jeremy sang the lyrics, feels good, but I know you want to cry out. I heard myself gasp audibly. Brackets, in a good way. I imagine
As
myself...
opposed to surprised.
Why would he say that? I imagine myself having a dance floor makeout with my partner, and things quickly escalated as Jeremy sang of switching positions and getting ready for action. Needless to say, this song activated a fantasy that delivered an orgasm fast. And the fast is in italics, just so you know.
Super fast. Like my broadband.
So you might be thinking, what does this have to do with a problem? But similar to Aaron's point, if Lindsay Landquist not only wrote this, not only published it, but put her actual name to it, complete with a bio, on self.com, without feeling ashamed, then I really don't see why anyone needs to be ashamed of anything.
Obviously, there's no shame in having a cheeky frap while you listen to Spotify songs. It's just the writing of an article, believing that would be something interesting for people to read.
Yeah,
Especially with a picture of your face next to it.
let's put this to the
And by the way,
test.
this is what I look like.
Yes, I agree. Oh, I've got a point to make, haven't I? Sorry.
You're here to do your job, Carl.
Sorry, guys. So we've heard today from me about films most famous philanderer. Is that the right word? Yeah, it's a word.
Womanizer.
Womanizer.
Womanizer. You're all womanizer.
He's a womanizer, baby. Now we hear about probably our generation, at least, film's most inadequate lover, Jim from American Pie, 1999. So American Pie, 1999, directed by Paul Weitz. It was kind of like, 1999, we were all 10 or 11. So I'm probably not allowed to watch it, but it was like a coming-of-age teen
Yeah.
comedy drama for us.
Everybody watched things their parents didn't know they were watching.
Exactly, yeah. And Jim in it is like, his whole story arc is him discovering sex and what to do and, masturbating in a sock. And
Rite of passage.
Yeah.
We've all done that. While listening to Spotify.
Actually, he's doing it watching a stolen porn video. So, his friend Oz says to him, as Oz isn't a virgin, Jim is a virgin. Virgin Jim?
27-year-old virgin Jim.
Oz says that having sex is like a warm apple pie. And so Jim takes that literally and tries fucking a pie.
More food again, why?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that is a sacrilegious waste for me as well.
Yeah.
Apple pie is one of my favourite foods.
Would you
in
eat
the whole
it
world.
afterwards?
I'd eat it during, Carl.
Jim, let me get some.
I feel like his dad is way too nice about it as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's like, we'll just tell you, mother, we ate it. He's like, how would you deal with that situation? You
I say, what is wrong with you?
Get your dick out that pie.
So one of the most famous scenes is the Jim and Nadia scene. So Nadia is like an exchange student. Shannon Elizabeth plays her, like very pretty. All the boys want to be with her, but she seems to take a liking to Jim. Jim concocts a way to get her to his bedroom by saying we can study together. For plot reasons, she's just had ballet and needs to get changed somewhere. So Jim says, we can get changed in my house. So Stifler suggests, oh, why don't you set up your webcam and we can watch her get changed, which is very creepy.
Yeah.
And
again, you watch these things when you're young.
Yeah.
That shapes your opinion of these things, and you think that must be normal.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Obviously, most people wouldn't actually go and do that, but
No.
some people might think it is normal and go and do it.
Yeah. And
These things damage us.
They
I
do.
think we should stop watching films, listening to music, and reading books,
and
guys.
then podcasting about it.
Recommending them at the end.
Jim, being the bumbling fool that he is, he forgets to, like, you IT guys might be able to help me with this, but he's meant to be streaming it to his friends only, but then streams it to everyone in the world somehow on
Yeah, I don't think it's really explained.
on MSN Messenger or
Did they
whatever
even
they're
have
using.
streaming back then?
Well, they had webcams, didn't they, that
Yeah.
you could chat over like MSN or whatever. But
Yeah.
as Carl says, how do you broadcast that to the entire internet on MSN?
Yeah. So everyone sees what's going on. But so Nadia does get changed. Everyone's like, wow. And then they persuade Jim, well, you should get over there and, like, say, do you need a hand with that? And she goes over, she walks in and she goes, Jim, shame on you. But she kind of likes it and she likes him. So she he sees her naked, so she says, "Oh, you've seen me naked, now I need to see you naked." And she asks him to strip, and then he does like a really awkward strip. And then as Nadia tells him to lay down, and as she just starts like touching his chest basically, and he concludes at the wrong point.
He goes off, as it were.
Okay, yeah, he finishes early.
Jizzes
He
in
arrives.
his pants. He arrives, yeah.
Why did you have
Jesus,
such a
it's
problem with that when earlier you described the definition to hunker chunker without batting an eyelid?
Because that was just reading the
And
definition.
he was trying to be delicate at one point, and then he just went all out. When he jizzes in his pants. Oh right, that yeah. I get that.
That's
yeah.
what I meant. And Nadia's disappointed, but she's kind of like, yeah, that's fine, don't worry. Seemingly like 10 seconds later, he's ready to go again. And she straddles him, and then it happens again. And then people watching the broadcast go, again? Twice? Laughing and all this shit. And so Jim's life is basically terrible the next day when he goes to school because everyone's seen his sexual inadequacy or what he thinks it is. But in American Pie 2, Nadia is travelling Europe and wants to come and see Jim and wants to rekindle their relationship. And whilst it doesn't work out and he ends up with Michelle the band geek, the experience doesn't actually stop his sex life. He ends up American Pie, The Wedding, number 3. He gets married to Michelle, so she knows all about his sexual exploits. So it hasn't ruined his life at all. And I think there's another one about a baby. They have a baby, I think.
Reunion.
Yeah, they've got a baby in that one, or maybe 2 children. So yeah, so Jim lives a good life, you know,
Yeah,
and has a
Yeah.
healthy sex life to where he ends up having children. So don't worry about it.
We've all kind of given the same advice, haven't we? You're making it too big a deal in your head, and actually, if your girlfriend cares about you, which I'm sure she does, it hasn't made as big an impact on her as it has on you.
Well, he says himself, she still gives him the come to bed eyes.
Yeah. There is one more example that I was. Were you done, Carl?
Yeah, I finished early.
You finished early. No, I think you finished on time, Carl.
Oh,
it
good.
happens to everyone, don't worry. There is one more example. I've been watching People Just Do Nothing recently. Have you seen that?
No.
It's a mockumentary about a group of friends who run a pirate radio station. Pirate garage radio station, you know?
I would like this.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Enter! It made me and my wife do MC voices everywhere we go. What does it take to be a garage MC?
The same as it takes to be a wedding DJ, it seems.
And a running joke throughout the show is they've got this mate, Chabuddy G, and he keeps like alluding to the fact that he's got a micro penis. Like he's one of those people who's like, he will say stuff like, and what about people who have chodes? Like I'm asking for a friend, but you know,
Yeah.
And he's a wheeler dealer. He's a man who's got his finger in many pies, but he never actually makes a success of any of them because he's a bit clueless and a bit of an idiot. But, you know, that's the joke. And it is a really funny show. I like it a lot, especially if you're from our generation who grew up listening to garage music at one point, that little phase
Yeah.
that the UK went through.
I always think, because he's kind of come back recently, I imagine like Craig David was sitting in his like flat in his pants eating cereal, massive bowl of cereal. He heard a garage song, he's like, I'm back!
He was actually in LA beefing up, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Just going
he's
to the
actually having
gym.
a great life, yeah.
Anyway, at the end of series 4, he brings a woman back to his van, which is where he's living at the moment because he hasn't got anywhere else. And we overhear them making love in the back. They've left their mics on because obviously it's a mockumentary. It's supposed to be like a documentary, but so we don't see anything, but we hear them, and she's saying things like, "Just thumb it in," and "Is it in yet?" And the whole thing is over before it's even begun. You know, Chabuddy's done. Like Jim. His partner in that case isn't as nice as yours was, Justin. She says, I think when he finishes early, she says something like, "Oh, for fuck's sake." Something like that. But at the start of series 5, it turns out that they're now a couple, which proves that love can overcome those little sexual embarrassments, even if, like you, Justin, they feel a big deal to the person who they happen to. But you might make a big deal of it in your head, but in reality, you probably haven't done much damage.
No,
I'd say.
it's not a big deal in your upper head.
Okay, so with that's pretty much all we've got time for. But just before we go, the time has come, guys, to recommend the number 1 piece of art from this episode that you would have people listen to or watch or read if they're only going to consume one piece of media we've mentioned today? Carl, what would you say?
I'll have to go Demolition Man. Great film. Hunker Chunker.
It's slim pickings for me, but I think I'll have to go with Interpol's No Iron Threesome.
That is a tune. That was Interpol's height of their career, I think. They gradually went downhill from there.
Was their third album, was it?
Antics and that are my favourites. Second and third. And then,
Is it like a Interpol's band? Like they have
they... A lot of their lyrics are about criminals that are on their most wanted list. Have you seen him?
It's how they spread the word.
He's wearing a cap. All right, good. Oh no, and mine is People Just Do Nothing. It's very funny BBC Three comedy, especially, as I say, if you live in the UK and you went through the garage era. There's a lot of allusions that we would recognise, and it's very silly. There's actually a film out at the moment called People Just Do Nothing, big in Japan, at the cinema. But by the time this episode is broadcast, it won't be at the cinema anymore. So.
Is it a film of the series?
Yeah.
In cinemas? Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty big.
Yeah. Big in Japan.
Big,
But it's out in the UK.
big in Japan, out in UK.
Yeah. So, that really is all we have time for today. We hope that we have solved your sexual problems to a sufficient standard. And don't worry, guys. This is the last sex special that we'll be doing this series, because
Thank God.
I don't think anyone thinks that we did a good job of that, including us.
We need a few months of getting some problems together from our own experience. So
yeah, because none of those were our problems.
no,
obviously.
of course not.
No, I haven't got a chode. Check the episode notes or agonyartpodcast.com to find links to all the media we mentioned today, and for a link to the Agony Art Spotify playlist where you can listen to all the songs. If you've got a problem you'd like us to attempt to solve, you can reach us on our group Instagram and Twitter accounts at Agony Art Podcast, or on the submissions page on our website. I'd like to thank our resident Agony Aunts for their contributions. Thanks, Liam. Thanks, Carl.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening. We'll be back next week with more problems to muddle our way through and more entertainment for you to check out. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
But I'd suggest keep it light, 'cause their advice can be shite, and they won't be held liable. Oh no, not at all, not here at Agony Art. Agony Art. Agony Art.
Bye.
No, the first one worked.
Oh.
Put them both in.
Yeah.